Yes, indeed, it was. From wearing shorts and setting up trucks full of gear and sleeping on a bus on the way to the next city to high-tech labs and representing a company with a global reputation was quite a switch. But luckily, I had Ollie, who is a long-term professional on that domain, and a big team full of experts that was actually needed because we are talking about a system that follows on G3 and G4, which are still industry standard systems. And I've set them up myself many years, and I've seen them on a lot of stages, and they've been used by bands like Queen and their highly skilled technical professionals. And on the same time, by janitors in primary schools who set up sound, video, and light at the same time, but have never been taught how to set up a system like that. So our main focus became this catering both those extremes with one system at the same time. And after presenting this idea on our first brainstorm meeting to the team, and they realized what kind of task this was going to be. Remember when it became quiet all of a sudden?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we think back to the first generation of Evolution Wireless, actually, that was a huge inventive step, I would say. And that is 20 years ago already. And ever since then, we have fine-tuned and optimized the system and the product. We did it generation by generation. And now we were tasked to let go of this analog technology and were tasked to use a technology we so far only used in our very high-end series products, right? Like D6K and D9K. And we couldn't compromise on any of the performance metrics of the system, right? Because we really needed to live up to the expectation that people and customers have on Evolution Wireless. And that is, excel at every use case, no matter if you're the talent or the tech. So, in a nutshell, basically, we had to reach the same level of perfection, but we weren't granted the possibility to do that in iterations and iterations. We really had to do that in one shot.
Yeah, and that meant a lot of homework.
And that was basically the point in time where we started to go into detailed talks with end users, essentially on all levels, right? We reached out to engineers, to artists, to people from IT departments, to media administrators, and essentially they were all telling us the same, right? They said, we love Evolution Wireless for its reliability, its sound, its build quality, scalability. But some of them also made the comment that, sometimes your gear might appear a bit techy, a bit complicated to, let's install and operate. And at that moment in time, we actually began to realize what levers we could actually pull with the app. And that meant you and the app team went into interviews as well, right?
Yeah, we asked users worldwide from I'm scared of the word frequency all the way up to the highly skilled professionals. And for those interviews, we prepared a whole stack of features. But at the end of the day, it came down to, why don't you just build something that I can switch on and it works everywhere, anytime, all the time? And with all the features, but I don't want to take care of them. And with this challenge, we said, all right.
Right, but at the same time, we said we didn't want to forget about our pro customers, right? We needed a product that existed in both worlds. And luckily enough, we actually found an element that both worlds kind of shared. And that was a desire for safety. Although safety translates a bit different if we are talking about the pro world rather than the non-techie user world, so to speak. While safety for a pro means I've got full control over every single aspect of my system, it's more about automation in the other world. So essentially, the whole thing was a balancing act, right? We needed to come up with a most easy to use product, but at the same time, let it be the Swiss Army knife with all the options unfold if required.
And you know what excited me the most? It's actually two things. The one thing is that we move away from this marketing ease of use to a really implemented ease of use with this app-driven workflow. And the second thing is, due to the Bluetooth Low Energy communication port we have in here now, we can also sync our transmitters via Bluetooth Low Energy. And before that, I've sat in front of RF racks many times, and there you have to sync your transmitter by unscrewing this shell and then holding the port in a certain distance and position in front of the rack and wait for it to sync. And then you look to the right and you see 25 more transmitters, and you have to do this twice a day at least, and that's an exhausting task. Now I hit the sync button here and there, and I just have to be in the same room, and it takes less than a second, and I'm done. And that's a cool thing, I think.
Absolutely, and the team can be proud of so many things they actually achieved with this product. It really felt like a revolution to be in that project. It was due, right? If we just look at the fact how spectrum changed over the last couple of years. I mean, the UHF spectrum for wireless microphones that was available 20 years ago was like this. And today we're more talking about this size, with this size becoming more and more congested. So I must say I'm really relieved that we can actually renew our promise on rock-solid wireless audio with this product.
And that was not an easy one, but we could bring in the expertise from our D6 and 9K series.
Very true. And finally, the reason why we can now experience D6K and D9K technology living in EWD. I mean, just take the equidistant grid, for instance. So important to get the maximum channel count actually out of your frequency range, right? And the even better part of it is the usability part, right? So it comes without any headache on intermodulation products and any need for pre-calculated frequencies and what have you. So this is essentially then the reason why EWD can theoretically provide up to 90 channels. And that was, let's say, that was the point in time where we could really say, okay, mission accomplished on the hardware side. And now it was on you and the app team, again, to kind of pour that into a compelling user experience. And as I can see, you're already on it, right?
Yes. I really like how it translates those more techie tasks you have to overcome while setting up a UHF system. And we translated this into a more colory, clicky interface that can be absolutely non-technical if you want to. But on the other hand, as we were talking about earlier, you can also access all the parameters that might be required by the pros, right? Like in this dashboard, we see a lot of devices. We're currently in a demo mode. This is kind of cool for people who do not own any hardware yet. They can download the app, take the demo mode and check it out and get their way around it. And here we see a couple of devices, mock-up devices, and we see battery status and stuff like that. On the top, there's a thing we call Smart Center. That's a reserved space for critical information you might want to know, like very low battery, clipping, things like this. And on the bottom tab bar, you see something like Support Hub. We put this in, even though most of the workflows are automated or at least guided, we added quick tips like how to set up antennas or remove batteries. We have the Sound Academy tab here, which incorporates all the tutorials we made. And of course, the manual is right at your fingertips all the time. You don't have to look for them online. It's right there. And to show you more the pro side technical thing, if I go onto one unit, I can access all the parameters of this unit if I want to. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, I can do something like auto scan. So if I don't know how to set up frequencies and everything, I hit auto scan and I hit next, and that's all I have to do. Now it does the whole scan and frequency deployment and stuff like this. Yeah, and that's one example of this automation thing. And even the engineers love this feature because it does pretty much what they would have been doing anyway in the manual manner, and now it's automated.
Cool. And the app is available for iOS and Android, or?
Absolutely. You can get it for pretty much any Android phone and all the iPhones.
Cool.
And iPads and Android tablets as well.
Hold on. And do you know what kept me the most excited about this end-user test campaign? That was actually the point in time where we realized that most of the users really get back to us and told us they were really impressed by our build quality, and that they enjoyed the fact that we're going for metal housings again. So, and I must say, we as product managers, we have a stack of decisions we have to make with the project team on a daily basis. And every decision we actually did specifically on material we wanted to use was a very conscious one, right? Because this clearly reflected for us high standards and an understanding of reliability and durability.
Yeah, and this positive feedback kept coming for the app side of things as well. People we gave this to on little streaming studios, bigger streaming studios and stages all around, loved this set and forget, no-brainer workflow. And I'm really excited to see this later this year on a lot of more stages. And the next cool thing with this app is, even though this hardware will be out there, we can still implement new features in the app, push out an app update, and everybody has more value in his system without returning anything or paying more or something like that. So this evolution is an ongoing thing now.
You know, and this is what I'm really proud of. I'm really proud of this kind of software enablement, right? When hardware and software merge together.
Absolutely.
And actually form something new which is beneficial for the customer. As for instance is with our large audio input bandwidth, right? I mean, it's essentially nothing more hardware-wise than this kind of semiconductor chip, right? But this chip combined with a lot of brain power and some, let's say, smart signal processing inside, finally guarantees our 134 dB audio input dynamics. And now you as a, let's say, non-techie user, you could say, what about these additional few dBs that you have? And I think that's the part that is even more beautiful. It's not just on audio quality again, right? It's on ease of use again. Because this input bandwidth, this input dynamics finally makes that you don't have to think about sensitivity on your transmitter again, right? It's without any clipping. So here we have ease of use again, and I really can't wait to launch this product.